I was having a garage sale and I have these plant stands that I've been saving up because I want to do a market, and I decided let's put them in the garage sale and see what happens. And within the first hour I sold 5, put the rest of them out, but just as the last one was selling, someone asked if there was any more, and then I offered to make a couple more. So that's what we're doing today. And I'm going to do tapered legs on them for the first time. All right, so for this project, I'm using a 1x6 that costs $6.87, and it kind of looks like this, but it's much longer. Although I'm sure this will be the price of wood that we pay for something this big in the future. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to rip off that dirty edge over here, and then I'm gonna cut 18 inches, 18 inches, 18 inches, 18 inches, and then 11 inches, and another at 11 inches. So let's get that out of the way.
After I finished cutting all my parts, I think I started to explain how to swim for some reason. A little weird. Because I'm using a 1x6, I'm going to rip all of my pieces to get more out of the material. It's a good way to save on cost. I got my super ghetto dust collection set up before turning on my table saw. Did I even do anything? Before ripping my 18-inch pieces to 2.5 inches, and my 11-inch pieces were ripped to 2 1.5-inch pieces. And this gives me a total of 4 11-inch parts and 8 18-inch parts. Remember, I'm making 2 of these. Now you can glue and brad nail, but I always prefer to do dado. So I measure from the right side of my kerf 4 inches, I set up a stop block, and I make my first cut on all of my legs at a depth of 1/2 inch. Then I measured 5 3/8 of an inch from the right side of my kerf to show consideration for the blade. Intuitively, you would measure 4 inches and 5.5 inches. However, the blade has a thickness of 1/8 of an inch, and if you measure from the left side of that kerf, it's actually 5.5 inches if you measure from the right side at the start. Still a good practice to always do test cuts. If you don't have a dado stack, stacking all of your boards together when you're getting rid of that middle material is a quicker way to move through these. Now for the 11-inch pieces, I want to find the center. So from one side, I measure in 5 1/8 of an inch and 5 7/8 of an inch. That'll be dead center, accounting for the thickness of my wood, because we're going to dado those out and they're going to slot together. So we need to make another dado at 3 1/4 inches thick, or wide, deep. However, same process. Yeah. Now a quick word about our sponsor, which made this project possible, or at least a lot easier. Banggood has tons of tools to choose from that usually have a much lower cost. I've been using some tools from Banggood for years now, and today we're going to be looking at one of 2 jigs that they sent over. A tapering jig. I always knew I'd get a ton of use out of a tapering jig, it's just they look very complicated and I didn't feel like building one. However, this was super easy to assemble and it's working pretty well. I ran into one hiccup with the plastic knob. It interferes with the workpiece, and I made a quick wood washer to solve that. I later turned a 1/2 inch dowel into much thicker washers to solve it a little bit more permanently. Other than that, I wasn't smart enough to realize that the silver piece at the end of the blue bar was a stop. So I lined it up from the bottom and did my tapers that way, just making them look what I felt was good. First the long taper, and then I did a short taper at the top.
So that was made really easy. Thank you again to Banggood for sending that over. It's a good jig, it works. I would do a couple different things with it. I'd get those T-slot sliding clamps. I think they would be a lot more effective to use. And the nuts need to be a little bit taller because the material that you're trying to reference hits the nut. Now I made a design choice and I don't hate it, but I also don't love it. So I decided to reference my first taper and do another taper based on that one. And I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Now it's time to glue these all together and basically do our finishing touches. So let's get going. Now this is a mistake I've made a few times. All right, so I got all my B pieces and you can see how I have my middle joints in. You have to have one facing up and one facing down, and that way when you put them together, they're not glued so they can fall. Pretty darn cool, actually. I like that taper on the outside, I think. I almost want to do another taper like that. I'm gonna leave it, but I think one more taper could actually work. Now for these, I prefer to sand them after, just in case I have any joints not lined up perfectly. And if you don't have a spatula or a glue spreader, just finger it. It's what I always do. Just fingering away. Okay, now I'm just gonna go over it with some 150. Okay, so I've sanded everything down. Now I'm going to actually hit it in two different ways. That just sounds weird. So I'm gonna do one with a 45-degree chamfer on it, and then I'm going to do the other. I'm going to switch over and do a round over instead, and I'll just make a couple more of these, and I'll have more sets to sell, which is good. All right, so here we go. Two slightly different versions. From a distance, you can't really tell, but up close, you can see there's a minor difference between the two. However, I promised I would break down the actual cost and kind of real world expectations of this project. $6.87 for the boards. Let's add another 50 cents. So we're now at $7.37 for the actual cost put into this. Now, to make these real world expectations, when you're not moving a camera around, you can probably expect to get between 6 and 10 of these made in an hour. And to be honest with this project, I thought the welcome sign was gonna dethrone this as my best-selling project, but I think this project is gonna stick around for a little bit longer yet.